Welcome back to the Max Your Dash podcast. Thank you for listening, liking, and sharing. We're back for the first episode of the year. It's been a while. Nate was just joking that we're rusty.
We've been hit. I mean, this office has been taken down by the flu.
Yeah.
That's canceled how many of these?
Oh, we've been virused up.
Bro, I was down for 2 weeks between like the flu and then the follow-up like cough.
I don't think I felt 100% since October. It's just I come in every day at 50%.
That's it. It is. My wife is still kind of like battling it right now.
Dude, I was texting Mark about this when I was sick last week. Is it really because of kids? Mark says he is sick every 3 to 4 weeks with something.
Well, when you think about how do you get sick, how do germs get passed? This time of year, if you have kids in daycare, I mean, like, so whoever their families are around, they're all probably, like, we're sitting in one room right now. If one of us has a virus, like, we're all got it. then I go home, I give it to my wife, I give it to my kid. He goes to school, gives it to every kid in there, and then they go home and it's just crazy.
Yeah, I saw a perfect post on this. It's like before kids, I never got sick, but it was just, I was really good at avoiding somebody coughing in my mouth. Like, my kid, like, sneezes, and you're like, on me, really?
Dude, but in the summer, people just don't get, it's weird, you just don't get sick.
Because you're outside a lot more.
Maybe this is part of happiness. Be somewhere warm.
Yeah.
That's
Be
it.
somewhere warm.
I mean,
don't get sick.
Well, just vitamin D.
Vitamin D, dude.
Yeah.
It's all about vitamin D.
Do you guys know how vitamin D gets created in the body?
Here we go.
Yeah,
I want to learn.
Photos. We're plants, right?
Exactly. Sunlight, and you have to have cholesterol in your bloodstream. That's how vitamin D gets made.
Okay, great.
So, are you getting any sunlight today?
No, I should pop open the window.
No.
We're gonna get zero sunlight today, no problem.
I haven't got sunlight in 3 months.
One of the most important vitamins you can take there. Add that to the How to Be Happier in 2025. If you live in a climate like we live, you better be taking vitamin D daily.
Yeah.
Vitamin
do you water?
Yes,
Go for what?
I need.
Where do you get that?
It's in my multivitamin that I take. 5,000 IUs of that bad boy.
How expensive.
We're not doctors.
Is
don't
it
take
crazy?
Don't take our
No, if
medical
you
advice.
take the right vitamins, drink water, and walk when you wake up in the morning, people will be a lot happier.
Absolutely.
That's
this
really all
this
you have to
podcast is taking a turn in a direction that I don't know we should go, but
that's true.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what we're going to talk about today. We did this last year, and the episode did rather good. We are a financial planning company, obviously, mixed in with some self-development stuff, but because of our mission and why we do what we do a lot of episodes like this, but as you can see from the title, this is how to be happier in 2025, because that's what really matters. Not the amount of money that you have in your savings account, but are you happy? And we're going to claim we're experts on how to be happy.
Bold statement.
It really comes down to the reason we talk about stuff like this, though. It comes down to our mission, who we are with Max Your Dash, the name of our firm, why we do what we do, and our mission. But I think that's a good place to start, is first what Max Your Dash actually means. Well, actually, we could do Max Your Dash moments as a good tie-in.
Great tie-in.
A Max Your Dash moment is a time that you're feeling true joy, fulfillment, and happiness. Could be anything as big as opening a business or as small as you got a good parking spot.
I got a great example of a small one.
Okay.
So, I've been feeling really guilty that I have yet, in Grayson's life, so he's 3 now, we have not ever built a snowman. So this week my goal was which I'm getting ahead on the system here, but our goal was we're gonna build a snowman this week. So on Sunday, after this dump of snow we got, took G out to build a snowman. It was hilarious just to see it. This is the thing about kids, Steve, that you need to open your mind to. When you see this little kid and he is just so happy, it is the greatest feeling ever. I grabbed my sled that I use for ice fishing, which is kind of funny, tied it to the back of the gator, and was towing him around in circles. Dude, he was so happy. His giggle made me so happy. That's my Max Your Dash moment.
Yeah. And
that's a little one. Didn't cost me $1.
Didn't cost you $1. Didn't cost you $1. Yeah, that's the thing. Now, these moments, like, that's awesome. Okay, you did something big or you did something small. That's what life is all about. But what we want to do is help you be more intentional with these moments, meaning identify what these moments are like that, and then how do you do more of those? Because what we've found through creating this brand and being more intentional with ourselves is that we don't have a lot of time living on earth. And a lot of people are on the treadmill of life where they just let happy moments come, but they don't actually go out and seek them.
Yep.
They just let life pass them by. And
it's so hard to be present. Like, even in the example I just gave, like, there's so many things on my mind every single day.
Yeah.
That so many responsibilities, so many obligations, so many things I'd rather be doing than go outside and build a snowman in 4 degrees.
Yeah.
But when you can just, like, when you embody this way of life, we'll call it, you just start to appreciate little things so much more, and that adds up. Like, getting good at appreciating the small victories or moments, like making a snowman with your 3-year-old and watching him be so happy, is going to make you a happier person.
Dude, the person with the Max Your Dash bank that's higher than their checking and savings account is way happier than the person who has a higher checking and savings account than they do with
There's
their Max Your Dash.
Max Your
dude,
Dash
think
bank
about
is a
this.
phrase.
I would argue that they're probably the happiest person on the planet is like someone no one knows that, like,
In the wilderness,
like living in like a in a
Yeah.
cabin, like in a forest somewhere
Yeah.
in the Amazon. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think your point of being present is like this past 3 months, and you guys make jokes of how, like, I'm the busiest guy ever. I've had a issue with being present, and I used to be very intentional about it, and I think that's such a key side of things. Like, yesterday, here's my Max Your Dash moment. It was my birthday yesterday.
Big
Big,
deal.
big,
Closer.
big deal, 32. Now, I'm not a birthday guy, right? Like, for me, I'm more like I want to celebrate my kids, my wife, you guys' birthdays. For me, it's just another day. But my wife goes, let's go, do you have time in the morning? Let's do breakfast. So I take the family to, like, a diner, and it's, like, bad out. It's snowing, like, the hair's going crazy. I'm like, it's freezing.
You have great hair.
And so, thanks, dude. Work hard on it. So we go to the diner, and my kids are, like, just craziness, trying to get on the table, just stacking up the little. Have you ever did that in the restaurant, like the little jellies?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, playing stuff.
Yeah.
It's just mayhem. And then we get done and come to the office, and good old Nate Elvers takes me for a little birthday drink after a couple meetings.
I was the only guy at your birthday party.
Only guy at my birthday party.
Where
Another
you
buddy. Yeah, that's right.
Home.
Then I then go home, and my wife and I make dinner, lobster tails, and our family homemade, like, pasta that has been passed down from, like, my great grandfather. And I'm sitting there at dinner with, again, crazy dinner time, and I'm like, how lucky am I that I was able to go to breakfast till like 9:30, come and work, then go out for a random drink with a buddy of mine, right? And then go home and make dinner at 4:30. Like, the freedom of that day was like, that was awesome. I look back on that day, like, Meg and I were talking about it over some wine when we got the girls down, and I'm like, how awesome is that? Like, if I was in another career path or busy, like, I could have easily been gone from 8 a.m. till 5:30. We try to mix something together, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good Max Your Dash moment.
Yeah.
That's more of a Max Your Dash day. So.
So, yeah, I had a Max My Dash day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Meg took it upon herself to be more intentional.
Yes.
With that.
And she made me angel food cake, too, which is my favorite secret.
Really?
Fun
That's
fact.
your favorite?
My favorite. Don't have it a lot, but angel food cake. Yep.
Hate pizza, but like angel food cake.
I love pizza, dude.
You know what's kind of weird is, like, we explain what a Max Your Dash moment, but we don't actually explain what, like, the meaning means. This is actually exactly what I say to a client.
I think you did explain it.
No, what the dash is? I said Max Your Dash means living a life of fulfillment, but why does it mean that? If you haven't yet, the Max Your Dash comes from the poem The Dash by Linda Ellis. If you haven't yet, take a second, pause the video, read it right now, because it's amazing. It's changed our lives collectively, personally, professionally, everything. It takes you like 30 seconds to read, but it puts life in perspective. Spoiler alert, the dash they're referring to in the poem is the dash on your tombstone. So, like, 1995 to 2060. And that dash is a metaphor for your life. So our vision is to help our clients max your dash or live a life of fulfillment through intentionality, knowing the things that make you happy, and just doing more of it because we don't have a lot of time, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's kind of like when you start like living like this and you've read the poem and like things actually get put in perspective, it's kind of like a bittersweet pill to have. You know what I mean? Because it sucks to think about that you don't really have a lot of time, and then you start like everything puts in perspective, like my parents, things you could have done better or how your life could have been changed. But it's also sweet because life really does change. Like the way that you look at it and how you approach it changes if you actually think about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird, but that is kind of where Max Your Dash comes from. Today, we're going to talk about how to be happier in 2025, which relates to Max Your Dash.
Yes.
And then systematize. We're all about systems here. So we don't actually just talk about it. We say, okay, this is what you have to do to be happier. Now, how do you create a system to actually do this on an ongoing basis?
Yep.
Nate's our big systems guy.
That's because this type of topic is such a easy one to like. People are, I feel like, especially in the beginning of the year, so many people like want to be happier. They want to set goals. They have goals, maybe even, or there's things that they wish they were doing, but like a lot of people fall short in taking it to the next step of like execution, like do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like so passionate about thinking through that process. Like, how are you actually going to do it? Because it's one thing to talk about this stuff, but how are you actually going to live it?
Exactly. So the answer to how to be happier in 2025 is do one thing a week that is going to max your dash. So we just went through what Max Your Dash is, and Max Your Dash is completely different for everyone else. Nate likes to hunt. I hate hunting. So hunting would probably be a huge Max Your Dash goal for him. That would be minimizing my dash.
How can you say you hate hunting? You've never done it.
I don't like killing things. I think I know. But that's the thing, is that's the cool part, is Max Your Dash can be anything for anyone. So doing one thing a week to max your dash.
Why do you think... Because when we were prepping for this, that was my answer to you. But why do you think that's the thing? To do one thing a week?
Because the thing is how to be happier. I think if you do that, you're going to be happier than when you started. Because you weren't doing that, most likely. You weren't being intentional with it. And we just probably chose one thing a week because that's what's doable. But if you just max your dash more, we just like to quantify it. You know what I mean? So they can actually implement it. But
But if you create a system, like I feel like you can find max your dash moments if you get off what you call the treadmill of life, right? If you took moments to actually like a week to be intentional about like, this is how I'm spending my time that I quote max your dash, just by doing that and having a system do that, you'll be generally happier if that's the goal. And I think that's really important, but it's really just getting out of the day to day to have the intention behind, hey, I'm building a snowman, and this is what I'm classifying as max your dash moment. You might be doing max your dash moments and not even realizing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So like you're just having the intention to understand that this is a max your dash moment.
Yeah.
And write it down or do whatever your system is.
To me, it's a habit, just like anything else.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to become the kind of person who appreciates life more, that feels happier, that feels more fulfilled, that's like a habit. That's a mindset habit that you can build. And so by having something every week that you're identifying that you're going to do that aligns to this, 52 weeks later, you're going to have a different way of how you view life because of that consistency and that habit that you built through the course of a year. Just like anything else, if you want to get physically more fit, like you got to have habits. For some reason, I feel like when it comes to mindset stuff, like it's harder for people to figure out the habit building part of that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And there's not like, if like a health or working out, you physically can see that versus a feeling you don't like see it, where you have to be very intentional with that, because you also can go to the negative route. If you never see a max your dash moment, how unhappy you're going to be in 52 weeks. So
now, real quick sidetrack here, Nate, because this is, I feel like, a question that people might get, or I feel like I sometimes think about this too, is how does this relate to financial planning though?
Yeah. Well, I think there's an amazing intersection, and this is why we are so passionate about who we are, what we are, our brand, and our mission,
Because at the end of the day, like, and I should know the studies better, but like when you are not financially secure, it's like one of the top stressors in life. Yeah. I think it's like literally at the top. It might be the top.
I think it's one of the top leadings for divorce.
It is for sure. But I would imagine like for depression and anxiety, it's way up there on the list of things that cause that.
Yep.
So our little slice of how we help people be happier is when you feel like you have a financial plan and you feel like your financial house is in order.
Yeah.
It's easier to be present. It's easier to feel gratitude. It's easier to, to enjoy life every day.
Yep.
So that would be my answer. I think it's actually like a big part of being happier.
Doing financial planning actually lets you put less emphasis on how important money is in your life, because once you don't feel like you need it, it becomes like less important from like I can't, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like you're people who are so focused on getting money because they don't have it are so unhappy. But once you feel like you have it and you feel less stressed about it, you're not like tying your happiness to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's, I think even above and beyond is having, if you don't feel like secure, but having a system or a plan to get there, you instantly, I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm at least on track. I see this working out, right? Even if today you're not there. Yeah. And I think that's so important in how
I have a great story on this. So just yesterday, I'm talking with a client, and she's a single mom, and she's very successful in her career, but she has to work 2 jobs to afford her mortgage and raise her family. And her one son's in college right now. She's paying for all that. And she had this line that she said to me. She's like, I want to get to a place where I don't feel like I have to work a second job anymore to like pay for things. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at a little bit, is like the stress of obligations and things like that lead to you having to probably do a job that you don't actually enjoy all that much. And then that's taking up all of your time. So it's really hard to be as happy as you possibly can be when you have all of these obligations and responsibilities that you have to go work a job to earn a certain income level to afford the things that you have. Yep. Whereas like, part of what I think you were getting at is when you can realize like that a lot of these things you think you need or want, you don't need. Yeah. There's a lot of happiness that comes from that. That's one big thing for sure. But also to your point, just knowing that you have a plan and you're on track. And sure, it might be 12 years from now until you actually are at the place that you desire to be. But at least you know that versus the person that has no idea and they're just going through the motions day in and day out, week in and week out with no real plan. That person's stressed out. That person is anxious. And so we help people remove some of that anxiety by feeling like you have a plan.
Yeah. Now, this is the $1 million question. As you've been a financial planner for 16 years, you're the self-proclaimed Max Your Dash guy. Me and you will fight for that top spot. This is the question I'm going to ask you.
Do you think you can beat me in an arm wrestle?
No, you're stronger than me. You're 6'2", 250 something. All right, this is an important question.
You just propped up Nate.
Yeah, dude. I think I just got an inch taller.
Oh my god! Show him your hands. Ready?
Yeah.
Does money buy happiness? This is the question everyone wants to know. But it's not as simple. Think about this. Humans die for wealth. Birds die for food.
Yeah. I don't think, and I know this was directed at Nate, that money buys happiness, but it affects everything that does.
Which sucks.
Right? So having a big bank account should not be like, oh, I'm very happy because I got $1 million in the bank or my net worth at $1 million. But it's because now I can do everything else that makes me happy. Right? The Max Your Dash, you have the freedom to take the trip you want to, whatever it is. It's not a material thing, but it affects everything that drives happiness, I feel like.
It can.
It can, yeah.
It can. My answer would be no. My answer would not be that money buys happiness. I think purpose creates happiness. Feeling like you have a purpose is where a lot of happiness comes from. And that doesn't have to be anything to do with money.
Yeah.
So I know I have friends and clients that have gotten large lump sums of money from their company IPOing or whatever, more money than they ever thought they'd ever have in their life, and their happiness hasn't changed at all. No. I've asked you guys this question before here at Dash. Like, our life is how many times better financially than it used to be when we were at our previous firm?
Yep.
Are you that many times happier? Yeah. I think happiness, like, people think it's money. No. And it definitely can help. Don't get me wrong. Like, being able to buy a hunting property took money.
Yep.
And that has given me a lot of happiness. Yes. So there's something about that for sure. But I think at the end of the day, like, you got to feel like you have a purpose, and that doesn't have to.
We say that because I think we should be warning people that if you think once you have a lot of money you're going to be happy, you're wrong. That's the thing. But like Adam said, it's a tool. It's a tool but it's not the end all be all. Like, no one's ever been like, oh, I finally got to $1 million in X account, I am now happy. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great books on this. Where one of my favorite books I ever read from Tony Hsieh, the founder of, what's that famous shoe company, Zappos or
Nike?
No, the distributor. What's that? Isn't it starts with a Z?
I think it is Zappos.
Is it Zappos?
Yeah.
His book is amazing, and he like in one of his companies that he built, I think before Zappos, he got a massive payday, like a huge amount of money. But he had this retention agreement that he had to stay on for 3 years. He ended up scrapping it because he was so miserable. Even though he had all this money in the bank account, he had no purpose anymore. He hated who he was becoming, and like, so he's like, screw the retention agreement. I'll lose millions of dollars to go have the opportunity to build another company, because that's what makes him happy.
We talked about the other day when me and you were fighting the other day, because you're like, oh, I'm kind of poo-pooing on Adam for like wanting to find achievement or whatever, because you were saying humans need achievement.
Purpose,
Yes, purpose and achievement. It's just like the way that humans do that nowadays is tied towards how much money they make. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you can find achievement
status games with it.
Yes. Because that's the easiest way to track, like, am I achieving something? Am I building something? Is looking at your income.
Yeah, I think that one of the big points we want to get across in this episode is to teach people to start to find more happiness in the little things. Mm-hmm. Like building a snowman, for example.
Yes.
That's like where I feel like if you can become the kind of person who, you know, the saying, like, you could smell the roses or whatever, that is what I want to see more people doing, and not thinking that it's like, when I buy this car, then I'm going to be happy. Yeah. When get this house, then I'm going to be happy.
Enjoying the journey. Yeah.
And it's not as, you know, I remember being in college sitting there thinking like, man, if I can't wait till someday I'm going to earn $50,000 a year as a salary or whatever. And then like the idea of earning $100,000 was crazy to me. And then you do it and you're like, wait, doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
All you do is you want more stuff. Yeah. And then you got to go make more money to keep paying for it. And it's like this cycle.
The rat race.
Yeah.
And I have this is a hot take, because I know this episode is happiness. Boy. Here we go. I have a problem with like the word happiness, right? Because I think it's more of, if more people had a purpose and vision in life, right, that exceeds happiness, because I think happiness is a choice, right? If you hear people say like, I'm sad or mad, and I'm like, why? I don't know. For no reason. Yeah, you can be happy for no reason.
Yeah, you're not really ever sad. I've never seen you sad, unless you hide it.
So when somebody like passes away or something like that, like I get sad, but I just think happiness like is an emotion that can be a choice. I think most of what we're talking about is having a purpose and enjoying the little things versus this end goal that you think is important that really isn't, especially tied to money. And I know I'm not saying like, hey, don't be happy.
You're a robot. You're an unfeeling robot. Yeah. You have no emotions.
You can choose to be happy.
No, you definitely can. I agree. But there's some level of mental toughness that you have to be able to choose to be happy, because everyone's situation is different.
100%. And by doing this, you are going to find that you are mentally in a happier space by finding max cash moments.
So what Nate's saying though, if you focus on the little things more, you're going to be happier, because now your perspective on your daily life changes. That snowman thing turned into this was awesome because I got to build it with my son. Not, oh, it's really cold out, I got to go outside and do this.
Yeah, and that's perspective on everything changes. That is such a big point, because I don't know if I agree with your statement that happiness is a choice as much, but the way you perceive things is absolutely a choice. Yes. And I feel like I see this all the time, where it's like people like encounter a problem or whatever, and that one person, it just will derail them. The other person looks at it as like the biggest opportunity. So there's just like, are you glass half full person or
half? Yeah.
And I think you can become a glass half full. Wait, is that the right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we want people to do.
Yep.
By getting better at appreciating all the little things. And like you were telling the story about your birthday and how at the end of the day, you're like, wow, this is like, how great is it that I have this opportunity? That's just like you having this realization of like, my life's pretty amazing. But then tomorrow you might be like, I have so much I got to do to improve my life to get to where I'm trying to go. Yep. That's like the opposite mentality. And there's something to be said about being growth oriented and whatever too. But I want people to appreciate the little things more.
Yeah. And like you mentioned in the snowman, like your son's giggle while you were like pouring out, like those are things that again doesn't cost any money, doesn't like, and those stick with you. You on the gator rolling around, he's laughing like that. You're gonna think about that when he's 15, wanting to go. So it's those are important moments.
So do one thing a week that's gonna max your dash. Step one to that is figure out what max your dash is. Hopefully this conversation has helped you guys realize what max your dash is, and then you're thinking in your head, okay, like probably already moments that you've had in the last week that would be a max your dash moment. But like, when are you the happiest and what are you doing when you're the happiest? Now let's set up a system for you to actually intentionally do more of that. Because a lot of people will do step one. They're like, oh, max your dash is cool. I like this. Oh, I was doing this last week. That was a max your dash moment. That's cool. That'd be awesome if I could max my dash more. And then they just move on to their life. When this is the systematized part, this is why they pay you the big bucks. We're not going to stop there. You're going to actually start maxing your dash. You're going to be more intentional with this, creating a system. How can you actually start maxing your dash every single week?
Yep. You want me to just go?
Yeah.
So my wife and I, we try to do like a quarterly like business meeting where we like we'll go have some beers at Flags.
God, that seems like a blast,
dude. It is actually great. So, but we're always like talking about like, okay, what are our priorities this quarter? What, and one of the aha moments that I had as we were doing this like in December or January was, even as the self-proclaimed max your dash guy, like I don't feel like we have a good system for doing that. And one of the things is I'm sitting there on the couch at the time that this came to me, is we always, every Sunday, make our dinner menu on a chalkboard in our kitchen. And it's like a thing we always do, and it's fun and it works. So we know what we're eating every day of the week. I was like, why don't we get another chalkboard? It's the Max Your Dash chalkboard, where every week when we're doing our dinner menu, we're also going to identify what's one thing we're going to do intentionally this week to max our dash. And so like literally last week it was build a snowman with G, because we had been talking about how we like need to get him outside more and whatever. And so we did it. That's the only reason I did it, probably.
Right.
And so like this week, Nicole, it's her last week of maternity leave. So we're going to do like a happy hour on Friday and have a little date, just her and I, before we got to get Grace. Like, so that's a system. Now it's I'm staring at it every single day.
This could probably also be a system of how not to get a divorce. You'll never get a divorce.
Just communicating with your wife like that.
I mean, this. There's a lot of benefits for doing the chalk max your dash board.
Dude, I think we need someone out there that's like good on like with crafts. We need a max your dash chalkboard for sale on our website. But so anyway, so what that system does is it forces us every week to identify one thing we're going to do to max our dash. And so we're, 6 weeks into the year, we've done it every week, and it's become a thing already. It's already a thing. Like, actually, we didn't do it on Sunday. So yesterday, Nicole and I were like, oh my God, we got to do that. We have to make sure we identify the thing for this week.
And think about what you're like, again, you have 2 kids. Think about your boys as they see you and Nicole do this week in and week out, how much focus they're going to have on the small things from a teenager on, right? Like, think about, I don't know about you guys as teenagers, like it was sports and craziness and just the next thing, get good grades, get sports, get into college. It's just, you're in the rat race at 15, right?
Yeah.
And think about them being like, wow, my parents do a max dash moment every week. I'm going to do it. Now, what are they writing down as their max dash moment when they're teenagers? How cool is that going to be?
But so that's how you take this from like just talking about it to actually living it and doing it.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't, you could come up with any other idea. There's millions of ways to do this, but that's the way we identify to do it. And I think it works great. And I am such a big believer in you have to make things visual. Like you have to see this, whatever you're trying to change in your life, you've got to see it with your eyes every single day. If you don't do that step, I think the likelihood goes down dramatically.
Yeah. There's studies on that too. Yeah.
That just allows you to, if you didn't have this, you're not being intentional with it.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like you said, it's the visualization of it.
Yep. And I think like I'm so attracted to this type of stuff that like it's kind of it's become easy for me to like just have fun every day. Like we were talking about this the other day. About, like I feel like every day I'm having fun.
Yep.
But like, not every like that. Nicole needed this, for example, to start to appreciate this kind of stuff more. Yeah. And like, I love what you just said. I didn't even think about it from the kids' point of view. Like, this is such an important habit. Yeah. And without the visual chalkboard, I don't think it would do anything.
I'm ordering one too. It's done.
I think it's a game changer. Because and one of the reasons why we did this was because we had set priorities in our quarterly business family meeting that we didn't follow through on.
Yep.
And I was getting sick of it. I'm like, this isn't working. Like I can't, if it's on an Excel sheet that I got to go find, it's not visual enough.
That's so interesting because like my wife and I have the monthly finance meeting, right? And we haven't had one in January. And there's things that are on that list that next month that I look, I'm like, oh, we didn't do this. And it gets frustrating because you're like, if these are our actual priorities, why aren't we accomplishing them or at least focusing or even talking about them except once a month? So that's 100% a great solution.
Yeah. Do we nail it?
You didn't do your month Max Your Dash moment. You didn't say yours.
Yeah, dude, what's that all about?
Oh yeah, you're right.
You're the host.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is mine? Dude, I just do it so often that like it could be pretty much everything.
We want to know. People want to know.
You're the happiest guy here, right?
I am the happiest.
I am. Do you still do Pizza Fridays?
No. I'm just a little bit more. Yeah.
Yep. Gotta put that on the list with you.
It doesn't go down bad at all. We should eventually, when our brand like blows up and people know this, and like people are gonna be talking about us in the comments, they'll be like, they're gonna fight about who's happier, Nate or Steve.
Yeah.
He seems like a great happy guy. He says he's having fun every day.
Yeah.
That is awesome though. Saying you're having fun every day is actually like kind of the sickest thing ever.
You know what's
like? I want you to have a T-shirt that says "I'm having fun." Like, dude,
I'm having more fun than you.
Have fun.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be awesome when our clients and listeners like actually execute. We get a picture from a client with a Max Your Dash whiteboard. With his wife, like that's going to make me the happiest.
This is the thing that makes me mad about this is like this episode that we just talked about it is so like golden key to life. Like we're not just saying this. If Joe Rogan talked about this for an hour, it would blow up. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be turned into all those like
clips. It'd be every day
motivational
blah blah blah
music in the background.
Right? It's like you know what I mean? Like
we just gotta keep pounding that rock. Eventually, it's gonna break.
Yeah, pounding the rock. I mean, listen, we just want you to be happy. It's not anything crazy,
right? We want people to be happier, and we want them to have more wealth.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
no big deal. All right, anything else?
No.
Good job, Adam. We're happy you're here.
Thanks for letting me jump on in.
We're firing Mark.
Thanks for the impromptu.
Yeah, text in the group chat later.
In the comment section, can you please vote Mark or Adam? Ambo or Mark?
Wait, actually, that's so cool.
Whoever wins, I'll be on the pond more, but hey, just be
Ambo Mark. Okay, I'm gonna put
what if they want Mark over me? What if they're sick of me?
Oh my God.
And then it's you three. What if you get booted?
Yeah.
I've been trying to
everybody's on the chopping block. Just vote who you want.
All right. Well, thank you for listening and watching the Max Your Dash podcast. We will catch you guys in the next one.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.